So welcome to MindShifters Radio. Today is Monday, February the 2nd, 2026. We welcome you to the show. Glad you're here. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome everybody. Honored and delighted that you get to be here to play with us again today. We had another awesome session on Sunday afternoon of responsibility communication. Susan, how are you doing from the
processing?
I guess the last two facilitated codependent sessions you've done have been pretty intense.
And they are
share?
very I know it's deep. Just doing my best to be with what is so many layers I don't even have language for what's coming up. Feels like it's going right to the core of unworthiness, and Faye said it yesterday for me. When babies are swaddled, and Faye said this, when they're swaddled, when
Yes.
they feel contained and safe, that's the part that I want to find the language for it. Was undeveloped. So that peace of knowing that I can rest and feel safe in God, and rest and safe in life, and rest and safe in my own being. So, and then meeting those parts of myself that are immature in that way. And it's intense, and I'm doing my best to show up and be, and I'm getting lots of triggers are coming in my outer world. I'm being flooded a lot right now. And
I'm breathing with you.
And doing my best to stay present and conscious, and even though my overwhelm was brought up by these situations.
Well, I think it can be a comfort to realize that when you hit those higher levels of vitality, the level of stuff that you access is not necessarily based in language or cognition, and so to be able to bring it to cognitive awareness and process it is one thing, and then there are many things to me that I've experienced being processed that are just processed energetically. And my experience has been that if there's something to learn from it, 2 or 3 days later, you're walking down the street and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what that was about. But the cognitive awareness is not a necessary step in the healing process.
And trusting that even though understanding is unavailable in the moment, that it's being processed, and it's going to be, there is on the other side of this. It's really uncomfortable. And I'm doing my work just moment by moment, and every upset that I'm facing or trigger or overwhelm, it's overwhelm is what's coming up the most, is the overwhelm in me is coming up the most. Lots of
Waddling you.
So I've been overwhelmed. Probably this energy inside me of overwhelm has been there my whole life. I just wasn't consciously aware of it.
You trigger for me and especially with Faye mentioning the idea of being swaddling. It hadn't particularly occurred to me as swaddling, but I've shared before that Lincoln, he's now 18 months. But from the very early stages, if there was a loud sound, his nervous system would just go into total overload. I mean, we're still working to support him and move through that. But I remember one day that he just, it was like beyond what people call PTSD for him. And it was just from a noise. There was no threat in his environment. And I can remember I actually extended my shoulders, extended my arms so that my elbows met around him and folded him, and just my hands totally grasping his head and just assuring him that he was safe, because it was such a dramatic physiological and emotional response for him. So I'm just to hold the space for that safety for you.
Yeah, and that's what I realized. The co-regulation wasn't there, so there was nothing to, like, benchmarks to lean in. You just had
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
safety. I didn't feel the safety within, and any time wanting to reach, there was nowhere to co-regulate. I want to reword that. The co-regulation wasn't present.
Right. So it is now.
Yeah, and
Even at a
that's what's
distance, it
up.
is now.
So it is beyond language. It's just, and this is the parts of myself and they're coming forward and speaking up. And yeah, it's intense. And just trusting just keep showing up and trust the process. But yeah, there's parts it's too much. I can tell you that feels too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you give language to, and I'd never particularly thought of it in this way, but even at a distance, what each of us that participate in this work, in the show, in the intensives, whatever, can do with and for each other, is when any of us is not able to regulate ourselves, that we can energetically reach out, embrace each other, and hold that state of regulation that the one in trauma can co-regulate to. So that's a new way for me, of looking at that and recognizing that. But that's exactly what we're doing. And so, as if each of us hold each other in that space, that we can, whatever little piece of the puzzle I have that you don't have, then you can connect with it, and whatever piece of the puzzle you have that I don't, I can connect with it, and together we all grow in wholeness. And so
yeah, thank you so much.
I'm delighted to be here, to be that space with you and for you.
Appreciate everybody with that. And of course, Anita and Andrea and Faye, we went out after we didn't do breathing, but we went out for dinner and just, we were sharing story and just being in each other's presence. And Anita, I'd love for you to share what happened yesterday for you. I mean, this is real time healing. It's right in real time. So Anita, do you want to share?
I'm excited to share. Thanks, Susan. So with witnessing what's been happening with Susan and Andrea, it really has invoked in me a desire to do similar work with my own family. And my mom I'll just share that, I actually convinced her to go to a sound bath, and she told me it was a cult afterwards. So that just shows you where my mom's at. And she just really has zero ability to hold even presence. And so yesterday I thought, I'm just going to go and listen to our meeting at my mom's and see whether or not she is even willing to hear what we were doing. And and so to my surprise, well, it was great because my mom's hearing's not great, and she always has the TV on. And so and this laptop, the sound doesn't go very loud. And so she decided to turn the volume off on her TV and close her eyes and then focus, and so she could hear. And boy, did she hear. It was spectacular. And I don't have my camera on. My apologies. And so anyway, I had the most powerful conversations I've had with my mom ever yesterday. And
that's awesome.
Oh my goodness. My mind was blown that she actually heard what we were talking about at the depth that she is able to. And she related to things that I was astonished that she had the capacity to share and relate with. And she was very honest, and the most honest she's ever been. And so it really has invoked this. My mom went to counseling once, And the counselor told her, basically that it was her fault. And my dad was excessively abusive. And so my mom always has had the impression that counseling is a waste of time. And so my plan going forward is to continue to go to her house for our Wednesday and Sunday times together and just see how long she's willing to listen. And I think that we've actually cracked through yesterday. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I feel like moving forward, this is going to be absolutely transformational for my family and especially for my mom. So Andrea and I are actually in a 6-week workshop about relationships and communication in relationships. And I chose to work with my mom. And so I shared with her yesterday, and it was really interesting. I asked for her permission if we could work on it together. And I had just shared that, I want to work on identifying clearly what my needs are, what my desires are, and how I'm feeling. And initially my mom was like, no, I don't want to cry in front of anyone. And so then I, of course, explained that, no, this is just homework that I will do with her and not in front of anyone. And she admitted, because I also shared that I, have a lot of anger within me. And my mom admitted that she does too. And also that she doesn't know how to ask for her needs. In fact, my mom doesn't even know what her needs are, which is really sad. But the fact that she was open and understood and I believe is willing to do this work with me, it's going to open up some significant emotions for my mom, I know. But they haven't gone anywhere her whole life. So I'm super excited about the transformation and the doors that opened yesterday with my mom. So thank you all so very much for the work that you're doing, because wow, like if I couldn't have planned it for it to work out this way. It was spectacular. Super excited.
That's awesome. Well, it's a delight to just watch your face as you say that. So thank you for putting it on your camera. And there's that idea in the Course in Miracles that says, when you're healed, you're never healed alone.
Right.
And, it ties in with this idea of co-regulation. When one person energetically captures a new level of energy, a new space of being, then it opens a door for anyone else in the space to capture the same. And the safety of looking at it. And I really support you on being focused. You may have some surprises that come up with as she opens the traumas that she's had, both surprises from the depth of it, from what you've said with your dad, and perhaps the depth of your experience that has been buried from being part of that household. So just breathing with you and knowing that it's safe to always turn to the breath and let whatever it is it moves, because the breath knows how to move it. You can trust it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm just delighted for you and your family. That's fabulous. And for anybody who isn't part of or hasn't been partaking in the facilitated codependence to independence communication practice that Susan's facilitating, what we've done in the last couple of sessions is that Andrea did a session of communication with Susan as the model of her mom. So did responsibility communication. And then the next session, her mom and her daughter, Andrea's daughter, came to the session and participated as another responsibility communication occurred. And then Susan, in yesterday's session, worked with Andrea as the representative of her mother. And so there's been a lot of love, intergenerational honesty, trauma opening, and energy moving. So really sweet, really awesome. And breathing with everybody. Joan, you have a thought for us?
No, just happy to be here.
Okay, your mute button was just open, so. And with what you just shared, I'm going to share. I've been working on pretty close to completion on Jeannie's afterword for her book. It was originally going to be several pages, but as I worked with it, realized that affirmation from what she'd written was all that was needed. And so I'm going to just share it because we actually were sitting reading it and working on it just before the show started. So I'd like to just share it energetically. One, because I think it fits in this space, and two, the energetic feedback from each of you will be, I think, supportive. So the title of the afterword is Why Deep Breaths Throughout the Journey. For humans, the beginning was the Aramaic cosmology of knowing based on the Creator's breath in us. This experience was brought into expression through the Aramaic language and has never been fully spoken in any other language. Before the fog of time and creeds based in institutionalized fear and misinterpretation, our shared state of oneness was unfiltered, direct. No foreign cosmologies, no middlemen, no distance created by intellectual dogma, doctrines, or external laws. Before spoken commandments, teachings, errors, or mistaken beliefs, there was simply the presence of human life, love, in direct relationship through the movement of the Creator's breath within. Healing generations one breath at a time has accomplished its purpose fully and completely. Your inherent worth was established with the free gift of your first breath. You have already been approved by the Creator. There is nothing to earn. No matter your challenges, there is no deficit in you. Only held breath to be reclaimed. Only debris to be forgiven. Jeannie has delivered the original Aramaic technology of forgiveness and breath that, on a practical level, liberates us from survival mode. She reveals how to participate in and accomplish your own healing through your families, and hopefully inspired you to support others in doing the same. Her mission, give each the tools for and the understanding of precisely, according to the original Aramaic words of Yeshua, how to be restored to the experience of our most natural state, original grace, has been masterfully fulfilled. Her call to action, from this instant forward, forgive, breathe, presence, love, if fear, grief, rage, or pain may surface. Welcome each precious opportunity to heal and forgive as you grow in understanding how to access and dissolve any demons you may have inherited or acquired. The word demons in quotes. Reclaim your daily breath. You were born of love. Your core purpose as a human is to live as love. Engage the work assigned and you will be restored to your birthright. And Anita, I think you just shared with us that you're restoring your birthright and the birthright of your mother to your family. That's just like,
Yeah, it's really just looking for the words. I'm just so excited because my mom has been so resistant to, until this point, all things that I have brought to her, shared with her, encouraged her to consider or look at. And the timing of how that all worked out was absolutely perfect. And the fact that, because I had asked her if she wanted to put her hearing aids in so that she could hear better, and she chose not to, which was perfect, because had she put them in, she probably would have watched the TV while she was listening and not have heard what we were discussing and the transformations that were happening. And so it really was truly perfect how it all fell into place yesterday.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome that she just sat and closed her eyes and was just with it. That's like,
yeah. And I'll also share, which is kind of funny, because the other day she said to me, so what are all these meetings that you've been going to? What is it that you're talking about? What is it that is going on? Like, almost like she was, curious if I was involved in something that I should not be involved in. So it was just quite funny when she made that comment, and then to see her response yesterday after listening was my heart and my mind were just blown wide open. Yeah. Yay.
well, celebrating with you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
You are welcome. And as Dr. Tim would say, deserving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for that. Yeah, I cried all the way through it, by the way. Oh, it's so raw, everything's up. And I just want to make an offering for Anita. So I'm in the process of updating my will and all the documents that go with that, right? And I just want to talk about this to demonstrate this as a feedback of our unconscious mind, everyone we meet. So I wanted to get two of my friends together, and all I need them to do is witness my documents. And so I phoned them, but they couldn't be available till February 23rd. Okay, so unconsciously, I must have been meaning about that. I didn't realize that in it, so then I scheduled it for the date, but that didn't align with what I needed. So I phoned Duncan, because he's the executor, and telling him, will you be available? And he went off about those aren't friends, and friends show up if you need them like that. They'll show up in an instant, and and oh my gosh, the feedback system of my unconscious was present and active. And I'm sitting there, and really he went all, like they're my friends, and I was able to collect him, say, I know how loyal you are, and when I phone you and anytime I need you, you're always there. You drop everything for me. And if I need support, you are there, and it's really important for you that friends show up that way, and if they don't, you perceive them not being friends. And then I got to clean that up, because I said, they show up for me. It was a matter of schedules. It was like I was talking to my own consciousness, and how the non-being mind insidiously starts planting these non-being thoughts, mind thoughts, and non-being emotions even with it. And I remember my one friend in particular, I think she's going through a rough time, and I could feel the energy of her being annoyed by even having to be available. And I was looking back, what do you need? And it's okay if you say no. That's what I wanted to say to her. And now after the fact, and I'm going to clean it up. So after Duncan, I cleaned it up, and then I let them off the hook, these two friends, and said, I'm going to do it this week. I've got to make arrangements, because that was my priority, to have it done before I leave to Kauai. And so that was really interesting. So I want to say to Anita, because you're saying, oh my God, the change in my mom. I'm just in awe of the change in my mom. It's amazing. It's actually you that's changing. And so she gets to reflect differently. She is now upgrading the reflection that you hold in the image that you created in your mind and that you've externalized in the outer world is shifting in real time. And her opening, and even her saying to you, is that a cult in that? There might have been unconscious patterns in you that wait a second at first, and believing that, what's up, what are they up to, and they're taking over my mind. And these are unconscious implants that are coming from the non-being mind. And then when we can stay conscious, present, and active in love, knowing the truth and getting the opportunity to clean it up on the outside. So we're not only cleaning up in here by holding love, conscious, active, and present, the non-being mind energy that we're meeting in the outer reality, we get to say, wait a minute, no, this is serving my soul, and I feel most aligned and most authentic that I've ever felt in my being. And I've been able, this is a place, and I want to say to everybody, where I get to mostly meet myself, that I have been able to meet myself the most. through the reflections of every single being that sits in this call. And it's magical, and it's really coming clear to me that all of the characters I meet outside, especially in this case I described with Duncan, because there was a charge there when he was doing that. And then it also brought me, I got to tell him how much I valued his opinion. And I still hold him in very high regard. And so when he says something, it has deep meaning for me. And then when I feel, then he went to some, I would say, shaming concepts, like if that's the friends you're hanging out with, yeah, I knew it. Oh yeah, he went to a whole, and I said, oh, I know how much you want to keep me safe, and you want to make sure I'm not being taken advantage of and all this, saying that it's important for you that my needs are met. And so I got to clean up, and then I felt upset. I told him that I felt triggered, and we ended the call. He called me back to do a repair. And then, so that was amazing. So that tells me I cleaned up my own mind, that my consciousness got cleaned enough that the masculine came back, this wounded masculine, my inner masculine likely, came back and actually did a really big effort at repairing. And he phoned me this morning, and he wanted getting the people in place so the documents can get signed. And then I got to collect them really well and say, I know how much you want to make sure that I'm safe.
Wow.
And that, yeah, so I just wanted to say that it's all smoke and mirrors, as Michael says, and it's all meeting ourselves, meeting the presence of ourselves through the mirror of the other. So I say to you, bravo for your commitment and your willingness that you're changing and healing your own mind. And that is being reflected in the presence of the others that are in your reality. That's a testament to you.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It is easiest, isn't it, to celebrate others.
Yeah, I want to celebrate you because I know your willingness.
That's a thought.
Yeah. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just saying that's a thought.
Yeah.
I'd support you make it easy to celebrate you too, Anita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some worksheets there.
And to receive that, even just with me saying that to you right now, just breathing in, like even in the co-regulation, I love what Michael said and brought it into deeper clarity. We are co-regulating energetically in this group because we all have pieces of the puzzles. So I get to reflect back to you your deservability right here and say to you just a deep honoring of you and your willingness. And given the fact when we were at the retreat, the depth of tetany that you were holding, of the inner emotions that never got to be expressed in your physiology. And now you've opened the doorway for this Satan energy or this, this constricted mind energy that's held in physiology, that it can be liberated. Yeah. So bravo, really, I just want to, I'm embracing you deeply in my love because also you are me.
Yes.
You are me.
One.
In the monad that we all are, and as you're doing it, you're healing me, and we're healing me, and we're sending it up to the collective cloud where humanity gets healed. Big deal.
It is a big deal. It's really spectacular and exciting and so fun.
And you're spectacular and exciting and so fun.
Thank you.
You really are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Honored to know you, Anita. Honored.
Likewise. Yeah. As are you. And to be on this journey with all of you together. It is such an honor, truly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Two things I want to acknowledge you for, Susan. One, when we talked the other day, you were talking about your former and how solid a rock he is for your son. And the fact that you can acknowledge that in him and that you've been able to create that with him personally is pretty awesome. The other thing is that as you were speaking, how you caught your own mind wanting to drag you into a lesser state.
Yeah.
And didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And there's not much that the Greeks did that I respect, but they did come up with one piece of the puzzle that's a really important one to hold to, and that is guard the portals of the mind.
Yeah, really.
And it's recently a Canadian, well, actually, I think it was in 2023, there was a PhD in Canada that wrote an article, and it was applying in the realm of technology, but he coined a term for how technology, for instance, things like, well, without mentioning any particular social media places, how technology, and that's the realm he works in, has developed products that had great promise and started out delivering that promise. But then, once they grew to the point where they had the audience, then they stopped delivering what they promised and started to deliver something inferior. They deteriorated. And how that's going throughout the technology world. And it really is a descriptor of exactly what you were just talking about with catching your own mind. And he coined a term, which I've thought about bringing to the class before, but there was never a space for it. But this seems like a perfect space for it. And this word, and I forget what dictionary it was, but a dictionary adopted this as the word of the year in 2023. The fellow's name, if you want to look it up, is Doctoro, Doctorto, Doctoro. And he put forward this word that became the word of the year, and I don't remember the dictionary that was involved, but the word was enshittification. And it's so perfect that someone who takes their own projected hostility and fear, something that comes from their pain, but when they're in denial and dissociation, projected to their brain's image of whoever's handy, and then goes about trying to drag others into their pain, unresolved, unowned, disowned pain and trauma, and enshittify their minds with their own enshittification. I just thought it was such a perfect word. And it's definitely one that everybody who's doing their work, I think, needs to really be cognizant of, because there's always that trap within our own minds, as you caught yourself doing, and the trap in others of falling into, if someone has an unresolved pain projected, and I have a similar unresolved pain, it can be really easy for me to get caught in their enshittification.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a perfect word.
And to see the energy of it, I saw it in real time. So our thoughts, so this, there really is no separation between cause and effect. You have a thought, our thoughts create a reality 100% of the time. So isn't it interesting? And even when I was like, I could see when I was on the call with my two friends, I could feel my agitation was arising within me, because my agitation was arising because it wasn't going the way I wanted in that getting the schedules confirmed. And so I wasn't consciously aware of the thought forms that were forming as a result. It was happening unconsciously. But there was frustration, and then even things like, friends, and those type of thoughts would have been there. How difficult can this be if I only need 15 minutes of your time? And I could feel the mind energy of my friend and my one friend. They were both they were both showing up in effort. And so my mind energy was likely creating even this discordance in the field. But I didn't know that. It wasn't, the feedback system wasn't coming back. I didn't have the awareness to clean up my mind energy in the moment. And so then the call ended, then I go to Duncan, and then I'm like, first of all, and I could feel myself getting sucked into the story. I didn't say it to him initially, but I could feel myself going small about they aren't my friend, all this, I'm not important, all of that. Then I said, stop right there.
That's enshittification. That's it.
Yeah, that's
right
it.
There.
Right there. And then I said, stop right there. I put my hand up. I'm on the phone with him, but I said, stop right there. What you're saying is not true. It's what you're saying. Let me explain about these friends. And I corrected it. And when I did that, the incoherent energy continued for a while. And I just said, that's not how I see it. I just kept saying that. That's not how I see it. My friends show up for me. I just kept saying that. I know they're my friends. I just try to keep it in positive, and sometimes slipping to the nose. I'm knowing it in the conversation right now, by the way. And then after we hung up, he called back for the repair. So when he called back, I knew I had done enough work to shift the energy.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And that's why, even when I think one of the meditations back, when talking about the trespasses in the Lord's Prayer, that we have to be guardians of our mind, what comes
Yes.
in. And it's happening at such a, and it takes us out so quickly, to be in a
It
state
used
of
to.
conscious awareness.
It
Yeah.
used to take us out so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the best part is, even right now, so with all that's happened in the last few days, the positive side of it is my subtle awareness and being conscious of the mind energy that keeps me at the negative words. I'm aware of that, and I recognize it in self, also in other people. So that's really important. And it's almost as though, yeah, my consciousness is aware of my unconscious through language. And I'm watching
Well, when
it
I
as
hold,
I'm speaking.
yeah, when I hold to breath and I hold to that higher state,
Yeah.
that's an invitation
Yeah.
for others to co-regulate with that higher state.
Yes.
To tap. When you're healed, you're never healed alone. To bring that forward. And if I've got unresolved emotion around something,
Yeah.
and I like to project, I like to talk about how someone, then if someone shows up with language about that, then it's easy to co-regulate, to tap in, to resonate with that and get lost in it.
Yeah.
And so always being consciously aware. Again, the Greek piece of guard the portals of the mind.
Yeah.
Is this based in love, or is this based in some form of denied, dissociated pain, trauma, or fear? And
even now
it's
that
an ongoing process.
Yeah. And even that we're now aware to be able to bring the truth of this to where we're at right now, that tells us we've moved into a deeper level of vitality, or a higher state of vitality. Because this, even coming up with the language now, being able to solidify the truth around co-regulation, and that we get to do it energetically, we can call in. And so that gives me great comfort, because even in the state now, I mean, I was aware of this before, but I really get it. I was saying the other day, when I was processing, the swaddling effect I didn't have a felt sense of it. There was, and now, let's say if I'm wanting to draw on the masculine, even now I've got you right here. And when you're not in my presence, I can still draw on that. I can feel the energy in all the people in the group here, and we're all having, we all have strengths in different areas. We hold integrity in our being in different areas where nothing can, where we get to hold in our structure and be in the strength of God, and we all have it in different areas. So we get to lean in to each other as rocks of Gibraltar as we do our journey. So that feels really good.
A couple thousand years ago, a great being called that the kingdom of heaven,
Yes.
the community of love, where each one is invited to co-regulate with the highest energy.
That's it.
And that, each of us comes with every different kind of strength and ability, and what we've resolved, what we haven't, and that, cooperative support in being able to pull those lower energies out and bring them up to the higher. It's an awesome gift.
And the higher beings that are here right now, they're clapping. They're all, yay, they got it. Let's go on to the next step. I don't know who it is. Somebody's doing a jig. I don't know. He's actually doing the jig right now. So I'm not sure which character that is. I don't know who that archetype is, but yeah, they're laughing. There's a big joyous laugh happening. So yeah, that means we're up leveling again. So thanks everybody for that.
Yay, for sure.
Yeah. That gives my little girl side hope.
Say again?
I said that gives my little girl, the little inner children, hope. That fight for the laughter and the joy, because I can feel what that is. And because she hasn't her evidence doesn't support the joy and laughter. So, but
integrity restored.
We're getting there. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. And Andre, you had a pretty intense session yesterday. Do you have anything to share at this point?
Well, lots is up. So
No.
much. Oh, so much. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's, it's really moving through my family at home. Um, it's showing up in this well, there's actually a lot of patterns that are really being processed through right now.
Hmm.
And I can see how they're connected. They have very similar, like they're part of the same template in different areas. And this whole representation in my house, that my house is really small, and my daughter, my boys share a room, and Pagan has her own room, but Alex is here, and she wants to be here right now because she says she's doing a lot of healing. And she had a rape incident and hasn't been able to process it. And so being at home is feeling healing in the family system and for her overwhelmed nervous system.
Hmm.
You
I think it
know,
was powerful that she came to the session on Sunday, that she sat in on that one with you and your mom. That was
yeah,
powerful while your mom was working.
yes, it definitely. She doesn't want to talk about anything at all.
Understandable.
Yeah, and she says she's doing healing, and it's tough because it's hard to put into words all these dynamics that are happening,
Yeah.
but she's there's a bit of an eruption this morning, and it's softening compared to the past, and she just came in crying saying, I need your room, and I've just started my whole physio routine, which is an hour or so, and it brings up so much for me that it's like um I talked to Susan about it, and she was talking about holding the Great Mother presence, and how to take charge in the house. And there's so much up for me, though, that's not even available right now, working through this paradigm where, um, it's this whole family system where the kids have needs and the parents have needs. We don't know how to meet them exactly in a healthy way yet.
Right.
And she's crying. She wants my room, but I've moved everything into my room to accommodate her taking over the living room. And, then she all of a sudden wants my room. And it's like, it brings up this pattern where raising them, I self-abandoned completely. In fact, I believe that's what a good mom was, that you put everything on the back burner and you sacrifice everything for your kids. And I know that's not truth, but I also don't know what is truth. So in that situation, I did the bare minimum to support myself, but in order to not be in physical overwhelm of pain, I have to do that routine. And I feel like I'm being asked through Susan, and this isn't directed towards Susan, I'm saying, how the pattern is coming up, that again, I'm not being heard and I'm not being supported, and I have to self-abandon, in order to meet other people's needs. And I know that there's a way through this. I don't know what it is, and it's showing up as like everybody around me. I feel like it's moving so fast, and I feel like people don't stop talking. There's no space for me. This is showing up in several relationships, I have to assert my voice, but I'm always getting interrupted. And I'm like, when I can be calm with it, I can see how it's coming from my own beliefs and how it's manifesting outside. It isn't about anybody. It's just how it's showing up.
Right.
And then trying to sort through it and work through. It's not even this trying. That's not accurate. It's like being with it and letting myself walk through it. And I know this is up with the work that's being done. And I don't necessarily how to put it all into like clarity so that it can be understood, because there's so many moving parts. The complexity, it's not like I don't actually feel an overwhelm, which is nice, but I feel like it's a lot.
No.
And like there's no space for me.
Yeah.
And that whole like suicidal stuff with my mom and myself is like, it's just coming from this space that, you know, there's no space for us to exist, or the earth has something to do with existing.
So that's my offering would be, that's what the non-being culture says. And that's the deepest belief of the non-being mind's culture. And every time you've ever been on an airplane, you've been given the answer to the question. Put your mask on before you put anybody else's mask on. And my offering would be that, that means that you need to take care of your basic needs. Of course, incorporating what obligations you've taken on as the head of the family into that, voluntarily taken on obligations, but at the same time being able to make sure that your mask is on, that you take care of your needs. And my offering would be that in this context, it might look like, I just started my routine and this is what I really need to do for my health. It'll take me about an hour, and then you can have the room. So you're not refusing her, you're giving her what she needs, but you're doing it from a space of you being resourced and taken care of, not from a space of deficiency,
Right.
not from a space of self-sacrifice. It doesn't mean that there aren't occasions where self-sacrifice can be very appropriate either, but, in the ongoing movement through the day, making sure that you're taken care of so that you can, as the head of household, have the resources to do what it takes to do that, I think is important. And if she has a reaction to that, then, step into processing that reaction. And of course, if you didn't have the tools all the years they were growing up, there are going to be several opportunities to get a new understanding of the dynamics of how family really works and how support really functions. And with your daughter, with that tender thing to have to be dealt with, of being raped, is just so much to deal with. And my offering is that one of the greatest gifts you might be able to give her, you've got the energy field worksheet. The energy field work that we did is the intensive, and just to offer, she can do it totally wordlessly. She doesn't have to be vulnerable, but just and she can cozy up in a blanket and, really cover and protect herself if she needs to, but just to go through the energy field work and invite her and support her, and just connecting her breath and letting that energy that's probably so deeply physiologically held because of the trauma of that experience, to just allow it to start to soften and open so she can free her physiology of it.
Yeah.
It's like she needs, at this point, my take would be, or the language I would put to it is, she needs physical forgiveness, as opposed to, starting off with, well, now we're going to mentally process this. There needs to be some flow of energy of that healing breath and healing intelligence through her physiology to alleviate some of that stress and strain, probably before she can even start to conceive of putting any of it to language or sharing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can mention it again every time I've spoken to her about it. She, about doing, either breathing or just tuning forks, like anything to start to support her. She's been unable for months to make any decision around it. So the most that she's allowed is me to just snuggle with her, and rub her back, and she's really this channel of the overwhelm of the family. Every time I mention anything, even yesterday when she was calm, about, because this upset around needing to sleep in and being woken up. We all get up at about 6 in the morning, but she wants to sleep for a lot longer. But our house has to, be in its rhythm, and she's unwilling to use other ideas of going in her brother's bed, and he's willing to give his bed up for her, so she's not woken up by the cat and everyone using the space, and everyone's kind of walking on, maybe not eggshells, it's more like everyone's modified and limited their use of the kitchen and living room because she wants to sleep. And so I said to her, look, if you want the use of my room, I need a little bit of help getting my exercise bike and some things out of there. And we need to talk about this in a way that can make it work, because I'm not familiar with needs. Needs are very, challenging still for me to work through. I don't know how to work through needs fluently yet. And then she was like, I could see myself in her. She was then unwilling to, no, it's fine. It's fine. I will just do it like this. And that's me. Like, I will erupt in need and feelings, but then when things are calm, to work through, well, I mean, I'm not like that all the
Deny
time,
it.
but yeah. And then I say, no, it's okay. I don't need that. And that's my
No,
family pattern.
no.
And it's
So
like, go ahead.
I was going to say that, that she sat in on that responsibility communication session, and that might be the tool to bring some of that forward. It's like, perhaps, explaining the mechanical facts of, you've been through some trauma. There's always this stress level for you. And I have an issue, and that is, I have some things that I know would help. And my issue is, there doesn't seem to be any, that, like, my offer for support is rejected. And, do you have any ideas on how I might deal with that? And then put in, at the depending what happens there in that communication, and put in the step where you get to put out support. It's like, how about if you open up to just some caring support with some of the tools that I've got to help you to unload this burden that you're carrying? Because I can't imagine a young girl having to carry that burden. It's just,
Hmm. Yeah, and on top of it, the ancestral trauma is moving through her. She's very aware of the codependency patterns and enmeshment patterns and how she's been parentified. And that's all on the surface, and has been even able to articulate it in moments of overwhelm, more like a burst. So it gives me an idea that she is very aware of what's moving through her. Just
Right.
when it's more a time to communicate about it, she withdraws.
And it sounds
And
like what you're reestablishing is a whole new set of family patterns, and remember, and one of the objectives, one of the reasons for suggesting that one do the forgiveness process regularly is to recognize that the way that stress is created is by setting goals. When you get that many people in a space that's small, all trying to achieve their goals, and that means, in part at least, they have goals for everybody else. Just the fact that your daughter's goal is, I'm sleeping in the living room, and I want my brother to be quiet, and I want the cat to be quiet, and Mom, I want you to be quiet, and I want. Remember that once one goes out to a state of stress because of too many unachieved goals, that's when they default back to the power person dynamic. So, that's what led Yeshua 2,000 years ago to say, sufficient for the day are the evils thereof, which doesn't make any sense in the English language because it's so twisted in its interpretation. But what he's essentially saying is, the word evil being unripe or something incomplete, don't have any more goals than for this waking period. Don't have the goal that I'm going to control my brother's actions today and tomorrow and next week and next month. And boy, you better be, because that just sets one up for falling into the power person trap. And then, of course, when one person in a small space like that falls in the power person trap, it will tend to arouse goals in everybody else that now everybody's in their power person dynamic, and that's crazy time. So, being the one who's aware of the breath, that would be the space to make sure to keep the breath space clear and establish new ways of communicating. And, it's like you're rewriting the whole family script, and that's a big task. So I'd also support you in making sure you keep your goals to a minimal level, like what am I going to accomplish today, so that you stay in a space where you're in that connected space rather than falling prey to your own power person dynamics.
And if I could just make a quick offering. So it's interesting. Do you remember when we just on Sunday, right? And you noticed that I kept swallowing when my mom was like that. As you were resonating my mom, and I was watching you, but I wasn't really connected to what the feeling space, but you could see it in my language.
Yeah.
And so just an offering for when, and when we don't feel, again, just from Alex's perspective, and because I've lived it with my own mother, when we, two things, even children ourselves, our children, we collect before we direct, making sure that they feel safe and contained. And the thing is, in our experience, that part of us has not been developed, is not developed. So you're trying to develop the maturity in that area while you're also working towards being the divine mother and the great mother with your children. And front and center in those moments, and the tears that were coming in, that was the aspect of you, the arrested development part of you, whose needs aren't being met. Yeah. And coming up against a daughter who's mirroring her needs not getting met. Yeah. And you both are in arrested development in that moment. And then when she wants to lean in, because she's looking for the parent to rest into the parent. And then, just like I was saying, the swaddling aspect, that isn't present. And then when you make an offering, she's already withdrawn because it doesn't feel safe that it can be held in the container. And I can tell you that because I've experienced that over and over with my own. And then we just recede. You can't hold it. That not saying it's true or not, but the feeling becomes it can't be held. So, and then we project in anger, and then in our overwhelm arises, and that overwhelm has been with her in this small space, and it feels like it's closing in on her. So there's an opportunity to face what's up. The overwhelm has always been in her, and all the characters are bringing it like to a head for its release, so she can process that in her physiology. And also in your case, it's also the same. And can we hold that and allow exactly what Michael said, right? That space to say, and if I didn't communicate that clearly, I just want to correct our discussion. It was never the intent that you give up yourself. And what Michael said, it is putting the oxygen mask on first and making sure you're resourced. And I believe I did say that, the time that you get to set to meet your needs and what's up for you. And I sense she's looking for safety to lean in, and it's consistent. And then when we meet each other in our wounded states, and you're your inner child, she's her inner child, there is no place for her to actually just rest into safety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and at the same time, you're looking for a place to lead into.
Exactly. That's where I wanted to say, you did not, this is the part, there's no evidence in your background where that was there.
Well, and see, I've been so hyper independent since I was 13 and earlier even. And when I raised my kids, when I'm still raising them, but I was on. I was just a super parent, take them to all of they were in so many different sports and music and their school and I worked full time, and I was on all the time trying to be the best for them that I never had. My mom was not there at all. So I was hyper there. And since the crash, dealing with all the physical stuff going on in my body, I'm actually unable to show up that way. And I understand that it's for the greater good. So that I can find this new balance, that I don't need to self-sacrifice. So the only way I could even hear what you were saying, Susan, was through self-sacrifice. And that's what I meant when I said it actually doesn't have anything to do with you or anyone else. It's that these patterns, like I can only see them through these patterns, and I know there's a way out, and I want to storm the gates because I know there's a way through. I just don't know what they are, and I have to walk through the feeling.
You're doing it.
So
you are doing it. You're not done yet. You're not finished with the project yet, but you're doing it big time.
You're in it. Oh,
be patient with yourself.
Everybody breathe.
So, and what you said, Dr. Ryce, about the goals, I need to keep hearing the application of the tools, because my ego still fights them and says this piece of paper is ridiculous. I do them, but I don't quite know the application when things are heightened, because my ego is so loud about how this is ridiculous, and it'll pick something like Jesus, everyone's following Jesus, and this is ridiculous that they're putting this man on. Like, it's my ego that goes there, and then it clouds everything about using the tools. So the way that landed was like really incredible. Thank you. About managing the goals.
Yeah, and notice when your kids were small, you were in extreme stress continuously. What you just described is a state of daily, literal, physiological, mental, emotional, psychological overwhelm.
Yeah.
And giving yourself recovery time. And the tools, he happened to be the one that, there is nowhere else on planet Earth that you'll find that a piece of information, and it took me 35 years of working with it, understanding it, to understand it, that when you set a goal, you create a stress in your mind, and the purpose of your mind is to give you whatever data it has, the best data it's got, even if it's crap data, to try to achieve that goal. And that the way to deal with the crap that is to cancel. There's nobody else on the planet. It's not, for me, it's not about Jesus. Even Jesus himself says, hey, you can deny me, but blaspheme me all you want. Just don't deny your breath.
Don't deny the Christ.
No, it's a
Yes,
breath.
and the nice thing in all of it, the power person dynamic towards myself and the kids, I am able to breathe through it when it wants to arise so that there is an action being taken in that. And in fact, I go to inaction of just breath, like inaction of anything, but only using breath. And it's getting through this without that reenactment pattern.
Nice.
Minimally,
So what?
minimally.
Got it. I hear you, and I hear that you're doing really well with that with your family. And my offering is, or my question would be, are you still doing the power person dynamic with yourself, on yourself, to yourself?
Minimally, but yes.
Okay, good. Well, that's you're heading in the right direction then. It's not.
It's more just feeling more powerless of like, okay, I just got to keep walking through this, and I don't know what that looks like.
You're doing it though. That's the part. You do know what it looks like because you're in it. You're walking it. You're doing
one
it.
foot in front of the other.
This is exactly what, facing everything that comes up. That's what this is. We are, what's in the way is the way. That's like, right. That's what it is. It's up. This is what's up right now. And you're facing it and processing through it. And then also canceling the goal for your need to be supported and canceling the goal for your need to have space. Because that's minded. So the parts of you when we cancel that and do the worksheet to see what's deeply under that, because this is what's up for review. And this is the mind energy that's in the way for your embodying your divinity. So this is the way. You're in it. You are right directly in the path, and you're facing the next dragon. And you're doing fabulously. You're showing up, and like Michael always says, we know that we're in the healing crisis. We're not in a disease crisis because we show up. Like the willingness of you and Anita and myself it's outstanding, because we're facing everything that's coming up every moment, and it is excruciating.
Remember that you've got a team and you've got the breath.
Yeah.
And just let that move. And, each one of us is here to co-regulate. And, the other part of co-regulating to me is assisting you in carrying the energy as you throw it off.
So that's holding the vitality is what you're saying, Michael, that we get to hold the vitality. So in co-regulation, we're saying there's one thing to hold the container. The other one is to hold the vitality for you to achieve it. Because you are doing it. It's this, and that part of you that's telling, I don't know what to do. That's the part of you. So you can imagine the little part of you that was put in situations over and over and not having a template or mirror neurons to template for you what the next step is, how to show up as a divine mother with our children. We don't have evidence of it. There was no evidence. So now we're building the template, and we're leaning into our soul family for the support as we navigate it. And you're doing amazing. That's all of us would say that to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really.
Thank you.
And
holding the space.
Yeah, and Alex also is a reflection of those parts of you. And I believe what Michael touched on about the depth of what she hasn't processed around the experience she had and related to rape. So that might also be an energy that's in the family system that is looking for an opportunity to be processed on the energetic level.
Definitely.
And so being with all of that and just allowing Ruka to help that move through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We got you.
All right. Well, holding the space, everybody. And appreciation for joining us. Look forward to talking tomorrow. Blessings. Bye-bye.